Welcome to Create Connect. We're here to discuss the Service Needs Strategic Funds, which opened on the 16th of April. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that we're all located somewhere on Aboriginal land across this vast place now called New South Wales. I live and work on Gadigal and Vidjagal lands, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I'm just going to share my screen now so that I can go through the presentation of and explanation of the Service Needs Strategic Fund. This is a re-recording of a presentation that was made last week, which unfortunately had some technological hiccups. My name is Beck Dean and I'm the Acting Senior Manager in Policy and Partnerships at Create New South Wales. So we're going to take you through now these strategic fund guidelines for service needs. So I'll just take you through basically the beginning of the work that we undertook to make this fund available. And just here's an acknowledgement to country. So the Create New South Wales Service Needs Review was undertaken in 2020. And through this review, artists and arts organisations told us their most pressing needs for capacity building and professional development. And we undertook extensive research, including a survey of 700 artists and arts organisations, and in consultation with already funded service organisations. The review aimed really to identify gaps in service provision for the sector. So we aim to identify the priorities in terms of needs for the sector, gaps between demand for services and their delivery, and what needs to change in order to address gaps. So we found the need for greater collaboration, partnership and innovation in 6 key areas across arts and cultural service provision. So you can find the review of New South Wales arts and cultural sector service needs on the Create New South Wales website. We highly recommend that anybody actually undertaking to start an application, that you read through this review of service needs, because that will give you the research basis for the 6 priority areas that we've identified that we're hoping will be covered with this funding in some way. So the Create New South Wales Service Needs Review in 2020 proposed 6 priority areas of service need. The first one was high quality web-based digital resources and services. So this means economically efficient ways of developing high quality web-based digital resources and services that meet business, practice and professional development needs. The second one was assisting artists and arts organisations to manage, produce and market their work and to attract funding and investment. So this is really sort of practical facilitation. So we're looking at programs that enhance the ability of service organisations to assist artists and arts organisations. The third one is to develop partnerships to generate career development pathways through mentoring, entrepreneurship and business development for New South Wales artists and arts organisations, and especially with major New South Wales arts and cultural institutions and organisations. So this priority was really based upon this continuous feedback that we were getting through the survey, that artists and arts organisations are finding it difficult to take a next step, either in their career or in their strategic work as an organisation, from being situated in a particular sort of position within the arts and cultural sector. So it might be artists that are emerging, that sort of having difficulty getting their work to a level in which it's seen by a different range of audiences and possibly shown in better ways. So the fourth area of priority was building the capacity of First Nations artists, arts organisations and communities. So with this, we're particularly interested in First Nations-led arts organisations developing capacity building services for First Nations artists and arts organisations. But we are also interested in how this is the capacity for this kind of support is being developed in other First Nations-led organisations. So the fifth area that we're looking at is the priority populations that the New South Wales government covers. And this really came through in multiple ways in the surveys that we undertook. So there was a lot of feedback about specific support for culturally and linguistically diverse artists and arts organisations and people with disability, as well as young people. So this really falls into the New South Wales own priority population area. And the last one, the sixth one, is something that I guess most artists and arts organisations in New South Wales will be really familiar with, is to find affordable space to make and present work. So we are really interested in addressing this issue as well. So the purpose of this fund is to boost professional development and capacity building services across the art cultural sector, and to address these 6 priority areas of need identified. It also needs to measure impact on the provision of services, to encourage innovation and to promote best practice models. So here we'll look at what the Service Needs Strategic Fund is actually going to bring. So there is $300,000 allocated for this fund per annum from 2021 across 3 years. So there may be multiple programs that are funded in a single year, and programs of more than 1 year's duration will require a multi-year contract. So for instance, if you are an organisation that is looking at developing a program that needs 3 years to be realised, then we do encourage you to write towards a 3-year program. We are not sort of putting too many limitations around this funding at this stage. We want to get the ideas in, and we want to fund the programs that best answer these priority areas that we've identified in the review. And if that means that a program needs to roll out for 3 years, then we'll be keen to support that. So in terms of the start dates, the program must start between the 1st of July and the 31st of December. And because you may choose to present a program over 3 years, it may end between the 1st of July 2022 and the 31st of December 2024. So note that the fund is intended for the development of artists and arts organisations that are based in New South Wales. So let's go through some eligibility questions, and there's a couple of potentially tricky issues in here if you are a screen-based organisation. So you're eligible if you are a New South Wales arts and cultural service organisation. You're eligible if you're an arts, screen and cultural organisation, although there is a caveat for screen, which I'll deal with over the next slide. If you're a creative industries organisation, you're also eligible to apply. And if you're a tertiary institution delivering arts and cultural sector programs, you're also eligible to apply. So please note that organisations and institutions do not include sole traders. So you're not eligible if you're a local, state or federal government department or agency. You're not eligible if you're an education institution, including preschool preschools, primary and secondary schools, other than a New South Wales tertiary institution that is delivering an arts and cultural program. And you're not eligible if you're a screen production company or film festival unless you can demonstrate how you can deliver services to arts and cultural sectors. So the assessment criteria includes your experience and your track record in delivering service. The second criteria is the strategic quality of your proposal. The third is your understanding of service needs and art forms. The fourth is an evaluation plan and a proven methodology to demonstrate the outcome and impact of your program. So here we're really interested in you basically telling us how how the service that you're going to provide is going to be able to be evaluated and how you can demonstrate the outcomes of that program. And then fifth, we're looking for overall value for money in terms of the program. So organisations that will be delivering and leveraging off other partnerships will likely to be delivering value for money based upon those kinds of partnerships, and the things those partnerships might bring including sort of access to space and other resources. So your response to the assessment criteria must include your strategic approach and your proposed program of activities and the delivery of your program, samples of your previous service delivery programs and their impact, short biographies of project managers, creators and collaborators delivering services, confirmation and or support letters from partners if appropriate. If you are working with Aboriginal communities, confirmation and support from relevant Aboriginal organisations, elders and community members is necessary. And we also ask you to deliver a project logic template if you're applying for funding over $100,000. And if you aren't applying for over $100,000, you may also fill in this template if you think it will sort of give us a good idea of how you're going to evaluate the success of your program. And we also ask for budget and financial statements. So just here is an example of the program logic table that we include in the application form. So you can download this and fill it in. So in terms of financial information, we're after your financial statements, so your most recent financial statements and your projected financial year. And we're looking for the budget for your program in its first year. That's if you're doing a standalone program for 1 year, or if you're doing a multi-year program, we'd be just looking at your first year budget, but you do need to give an indication of how much money you'd be taking into those other years. So in terms of the timeframes for this round, the guidelines were released on the 16th of April and the round was opened. The submissions of proposals close on the 18th of May at 5 p.m. And then we undertake notification and contracting prior to the end of the financial year. So this should be a fairly quick turnaround after you've submitted your application. So we do encourage you to get in contact with us. We have actually recorded separately the questions and answers from the presentation that we were able to record the other day. So we will have these questions and answers also in a link that you should be able to follow from here. So if you do need to get in touch, you can go to the Create New South Wales website, and once you start the application or look at the guidelines, you will be able to, in that guidelines, there are my contact details, and you'll be able to email me, and either myself or one of the team at Policy and Partnerships or Arts Funding will be in contact with you to answer any of your questions. Thank you for rejoining us for this presentation, and we do look forward to hearing from you over this time. Thank you.